For some people, a trip to Turkey means exploring ancient cities, luxury baths, and a hot air balloon ride at sunset. But for others, the only reason for going to Turkey is to get a hair transplant at a fraction of the price of other countries. In 2024, hair transplants are more popular than ever before. In fact, the data shows that around 1 in 13 men have undergone the procedure. It's estimated that around 256,000 Aussie guys have had a hair transplant since 2021. Sounds like a no, but slightly painful brainer, right? Here's everything you need to know about hair transplants and answer the question, what am I really in for?
Cures and Quackery.
Hair transplants are not a new way to fix your hairline. In fact, the earliest forms of hair loss are believed to date back to the 19th century, but the technique has advanced since this very painful procedure. The 90s saw a rise of the technique called follicular unit transplantation, and the 2000s saw the introduction of a follicular unit extraction. And these are the two most common techniques still used to this day. Both the FUT and the FUE procedure take the existing hair from donor areas, usually either the back or sides of your head, and insert them into the thinning areas. And the FUE is a more favourable approach because it leaves less noticeable scarring. Now, most accredited clinics boast a 90 to 95% success rate with hair transplants.
Now, how effective is it? Honestly, it's quite effective. So it is pretty good. The problem is you'd rather not get to that stage, right? So this is for if you've lost a lot of hair or you've lost all your hair, that's when a hair transplant is useful. Even if you get a hair transplant, you should be on other treatments in order to maintain your old hair and this new hair as well.
Another thing to note, like with any cosmetic surgery, it's very important to find an accredited clinic.
One of the things that a lot of people do is try and decide, do I have the hair transplant in Australia or do I fly to Turkey and get it done? Turkey is a lot cheaper and they do a lot of volume, but you got to think about what kind of care am I going to get afterwards. So that's certainly something to consider. If you're in Australia, you can be a lot more confident in the hygiene practices and the aftercare. Practitioners are pretty good in Australia.
A good way to tell if you need a hair transplant is by looking at the Norwood scale. It's a straightforward tool for determining the stages of male pattern baldness. Generally, if your hair loss has progressed beyond stage 3, that makes you a good candidate for a hair transplant. Some clinics also recommend that you wait till you're at least 30 years old to ensure that your hair loss pattern is fully developed.
Hair transplants are expensive. You're paying for a hair transplant surgeon, and that's going to be expensive. The most important thing is if you do recognize hair loss, address it early, well before you need to have a hair transplant. You don't want to ever get to that point. If you do, that's fine, but if you can avoid it, that's even better.
If you're in the early stages of hair loss, starting a hair regrowth treatment plan via an online health platform may be the cheaper, simpler, and way less painful way to go.